So theories of social stratification. We are with the functional theories. നോക്കിയിരുന്നോ ഇന്നലത്തെ ക്ലാസ്? എന്തെറ്റി? Functional theories where we started. So we have three: functional theory, conflict theory, and Weberian theory. So out of functional theory, we discussed Parsons' very simple concept. Every society is based on norms and values, and people tend to conform to these norms and values, right? Norms and values is there every society that forms the value system of society on the basis of consensus, and you try to conform to that. And social stratification is nothing but a kind of reward you will give for those people who conform to norms and values. Okay, so that's not important. They won't ask you separate question on Parsons. If they ask functional theory, you will write Parsons, and then Davis and Moor is the most important theory. If they want to ask a separate theory, that will be Davis and Moor. Okay, so that's the next theory that we discussed. Davis and Moor theory of social stratification. And we have seen this theory in terms of some propositions, right? Davis and Moor comes up with some propositions, right? And then comes Melvin Tumin with objections, and then comes the clarification, right? So this is the theory. So if the question is about the theory, it is not only about proposition. This theory is complete only if you write the objections and you write the clarification. Even then, your answer is not complete. The theory is complete. Your answer will be complete only after any question you take, you will write some criticisms of that theory, right? Any theory they ask, you will have to write the criticism. So what is this objection? This is by Melvin Tumin. In fact, that helped to improve the theory. So that's part of the theory. These objections. You remember I discussed before about organized skepticism. Group of people coming together, contributing to the research, so that it will help in improvement of the research. Organized skepticism, but it's not organized skepticism. By one person, he raised the objection, so the theory is improved upon that when you give the clarification. So this objection forms part of the theory. So if I am saying critically analyze this theory, this is not the criticism part. There we need to write different criticisms, like how Marxists are criticized. If you remember, yesterday we have written a question. Explain Davis and Moor's theory of stratification and how Marxists reacted to it. So there will be one dimension from Marxist, then Weberian criticism, feminist criticism, postmodern thinkers criticism. So different criticisms will come. That's part of the critical analysis. Cool? So this is how the theory is. Tell me quickly, what are the propositions? Every society is made up of some positions, right? Every society has some positions, and some of these positions are functionally more important, right? So let's say when I say some positions are more important, some are less important, means I can now see the strata. So that itself explained strata, right? Every society is having different positions. It could be doctors, engineers, civil servants, any manual scavengers, many positions, some of which are functionally more important, right? Others are less important compared to that. Now the most important position need to be filled with the most talented people, so that you can ensure a proper functioning, right? If that positions function properly, society will function properly. So it is necessary that the most important position has to be filled with the most talented people who are capable of doing that functions, so that society will be in equilibrium. Society will be in a smooth flow. So it's a requirement of society that you have to have certain position, you have to have some important position, and that important positions has to be filled with talented people or capable people. It's a requirement of society, so that it will ensure smooth functioning of society, whether it is legal system or whatever, right? So that society will be in equilibrium. Okay, now you can't get talented people just like that. If you need to attract the talented people, see how you get the talent. You have to undergo training, sacrifices, and a lot, right? So if you need to get the talented people, you have to give high rewards. Right, if I need to get a better staff, better employee, I need to give him better package. Otherwise, no one will come. Because he trained, he have experience, so he will have to get a better package. Same is the case in society also. Most important position need more talents, so they need to be adequately rewarded. I'm not talking about payment. The reward can be anything. It could be prestige, it could be power, right? If it is payment, then civil servants is getting nothing compared to the other business. But it's the prestige, it's the power and other things, right? So the reward can be anything, not only money. So most important positions are attached with higher rewards to attract talented people. So the attachment of that reward itself is telling you what? There is a inequality created, there is a strata created, because more rewards here, less reward here, automatically they become superior, this becomes inferior. This is more important position, some people are there, that means this is superior, this is inferior. And this is desirable, this is not desirable. This is preferred, this is not preferred. Correct? So you can see clearly stratification. So it's a very simple logical explanation. Like you can connect it with yourself, right? You want to, why you are studying, right? There are some positions, even in that service also. You can become a bank employee, you can become a PSC, you can do with UPSC, even within UPSC also. Differences are there, some positions are more important, some are less important. And more important position, if you need to get the better rank. So more training, more sacrifices, better rank you need to get. So more reward you will get. Correct? It's very much connected and related. Very simple also. So this is about the propositions, right? So the rewarding itself is creating that stratified position. So basically stratification is nothing but it's a system which makes sure that most important roles or positions in society is filled with the most talented people who's capable of performing those functions which ensure the smooth functioning of society. This is a clarity that you need to have. This is how you need to write also. That flow should be there. It's not that you mug up these points and you reproduce. No, that's not like that. Okay, so that's about the proposition. Now, objection, out of which there is only one main objection. Rest of it you can take one by one point and you can simply raise criticism. That is again common sense. The main objection is how to judge the relative importance of a position. Between two positions, how can I say this is important or this is important? Right? A doctor or a teacher, which one is more important? That's the question. So if I ask you now, or if you ask me, I cannot also say, right? If there are no doctors, teachers won't survive. If there is no teacher, doctors won't be there. Tomorrow you become an IAS officer, you may be considering you are superior, but if there is no teacher, you are not going to become an IAS officer. So how can you say IAS officer is superior or doctor is superior? It is relative. Right? So how the clarification is given? Yes, it is difficult, but it is not impossible. Exactly the same you need to write. It is difficult to judge the relative importance because it will be different for different people. It will be context specific. It could be different in different society. Some culture will value teachers better than maybe the administrators. Some society, some culture, some country. Right? So it is difficult but not impossible. There are two ways in which you can do that. One, by the degree to which the position is unique. Which one is more unique? If you just compare a doctor and a teacher, doctor is more unique. Right? Not everyone can become a doctor. Anyone can become teacher. Like I told you in my case also, I am a teacher. But my taste is never a teacher. Right? Similarly, not anyone can become an IAS officer. Like that. So the degree to which the position in question, to what extent that is unique. So in terms of uniqueness, you can judge. One. Second is, if you compare two positions, which one is more dependent upon the other? That way also you can judge. So the position in question or two positions in question, dependence on the other. Right? These two ways you can judge the relative importance. Apart from that, Melvin Tubin also criticized by saying that rewards are considered functional only if equal opportunities are. These are general random criticisms. And then clarification. Okay, clarification is what we discussed. Okay, so that's done. Any question? So we can write? Right. So when we write, before we start, even with Parsons, I'll give you around 150 words, 150 to 200 words, understanding on the development of stratification, how initially people have understood stratification, right? Initial thinkers, see, it's not only Davis and Moor or Parsons who tried to study stratification. Initial thinkers like even Aristotle, Plato also, they understood the stratification, inequality, etc. But initially people understood it as something which is natural. Like people are born unequal. Like I have certain power or I have certain capacity when I'm born. That talent is there, right? People are born like that. That's the initial understanding. That is why they are superior. But then comes another school of thought, but these are not important for us. I'm just telling you the evolution. So when I make you write, I will write this, but you won't get an opportunity to write in the exam, just for your understanding purpose. So you may think that is it only started here? No. This discussion on inequality, stratification is there much before also. Even before sociology also it's there. Aristotle, Plato, they also discussed about this. They discussed in terms of its natural inequality, because people are born unequal, like male, female, or someone is more intelligent than others. It is by birth, it's like that. So their opinion is like it is natural and it is permanent. Okay. Then after some time, different thinkers came and they come up with the opinion that it can be, inherent or acquired. Inherent means by birth. Acquired means over a period of time, through education and experiences, you acquire talent, right? So it could be inherent by birth, or it could be acquired, or it could be combination of both. You are born with some talent, and with your education and other things, experiences, you became more talented, more experienced, and more expert in that area. So it could be inherent or acquired or combination of both. Then comes the actual understanding in sociology, it is social. So we never say inequality is natural. That is where the entire discussion started. Now don't think that now I am saying it is natural. I am talking about Aristotle, Plato, that initial school. And then I am talking about how it developed. But when it comes to sociology, is it natural? No. That is difference. By birth, there are differences. That is not creating inequality. Okay. So in sociology, inequality is always social. So we write this, you have, you won't get time, you won't get space also to explain. Maybe 1 or 2 lines you will be in a position to write. But to make you understand the entire context, around 150 words you will write. But don't give too much of time for this, too much attention also. Don't, put too much effort also to mug it up. That's not required. Sometimes you feel it difficult, it is useless actually, even if you mug up. You're not going to use it, you may forget also. Just have an understanding. This is what more important for you. If you understood this, it's over. Okay, right. And the heading is there. Theories of social stratification. Theories of questions about theories of social. So now what I'll do is, this is a heading. This heading you write. Now I'll give you an introduction. I'll give you a evolution of this theories. So here I'm not only going to talk about this functional theory. I will talk about the entire evolution of social theories on stratification, and not only in sociology, even before sociology also, how it is understood, and how after sociology it is understood, and within sociology, how functionalist understood, how Marx is something which we need to study later because that is there in your syllabus. Marx also I will mention, Weber also I will mention. From this you need to write introduction. So what we are going to do now, we are going to write the evolution of theories on stratification. That is why this heading, theories of social stratification. So you just understand the evolution. This is going to be your introduction, and then specific theories. So here what all things I will mention. Before sociology, Aristotle, Plato, etc. I will mention, and then comes sociology. Within that, Parsons, Davis and Moor will mention. We'll also mention about Marx. We'll mention about Weber and other postmodern thinkers, which is not there in your syllabus. All I will mention. Okay, just for your understanding. Not that great relevant. Right. It is often argued it is of heading idile theories of social stratification. It is often argued that inequalities are present in every society. എന്തുപറ്റി ഗൗതമി? Okay. Understanding the patterns of social inequalities has been the concern of intellectuals since ancient times. Okay. Apart from academic text, even socio-religious writings often contain views on these patterns. Okay, next paragraph. With the emergence of sociology as a distinct discipline, this subject came within the domain of sociological investigation. Right? Okay. Now right, ancient philosophers like Plato and Aristotle, we'll discuss them in ethics also, otherwise there is no relevance in sociology. Here we just mention, you'll study about them in your ethics paper. Okay, so Plato, Aristotle theorized about the patterns of inequality. According to Plato, the social inequalities exist in society in terms of natural differences. Underline that, natural differences. That is, people are born unequal. Single inverted comma and underline that. People are born unequal. Okay, next paragraph. Some people are naturally equipped are naturally equipped for performing certain functions in society. For performing certain functions in society. Plato envisioned three classes. Plato envisioned three classes: guardians, auxiliaries, and workers. Guardians, guardians, comma, auxiliaries, 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 and workers. Guardians, auxiliaries, and workers. Auxiliaries and workers. Guardians, guardians. Okay. Similarly, according to Aristotle, the inequalities are, according to Aristotle, the inequalities are natural, and there is a natural rank order among them. Natural, and there is a natural rank order among them. Okay, these theories thus consider the patterns of inequalities as natural, permanent, and inevitable. Natural, permanent, inevitable. So these thinkers, their understanding is it's natural. By both you are unequal. Some people are capable of doing something more, right? So underline that: natural, permanent, inevitable. Last idea: natural, permanent, inevitable. Next paragraph. During the Renaissance period, in Europe, an alternative approach towards understanding the pattern started. Saint Thomas and Saint Augustine. ST na ideyala madi. ST Thomas and ST Augustine. Saint Thomas and Saint Augustine. For the first time, attempted to understand hierarchical order in society. In terms of prosperity and prestige. Underline cheyu, prosperity and prestige. So prosperity and prestige എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ natural അല്ല, അത് normally social ആയി അല്ലേ? Okay, right. With this an intellectual tradition favoring the understanding of inequalities in social terms started. Full stop. Next sentence. Apart from naturalist explanation of inequalities, apart from naturalist explanation ഉദ്ദേശിച്ചതാ Plato, Aristotle പറഞ്ഞ കാര്യങ്ങൾ. Apart from naturalist explanation of inequalities, an alternative school of thought emerged. An alternative school of thought emerged which understood inequalities as socially created. Inequalities as socially created. Next paragraph. Later, social philosophers like Locke, L-O-C-K-E. You'll study them in world history, you'll study them in ethics also. Locke, Bentham, B-E-N-T-H-E-M, Bentham, Rousseau, R-O-U-S-S-E-U, E-A-U, R-O-U-S-S-E-A-U, Rousseau, Hegel, were aware of the emergence of social classes, or stratas based either on inherent differences or acquired differences, or some combination of both. Okay, so what is the initial understanding? It is natural, inevitable, permanent. It has to be like that, and it is permanent. Some people are born unequal. They are born with talent. They are capable of doing something much better than others. Then comes the school of thought that it is socially created. Then came an understanding it could be natural, it could be social, it could be combination. It is inherent or acquired or combination of both. You're born talented, and over a period of time you acquired more talent also, so it can be combination. Okay, a continuation. Next sentence. Rousseau talked of social inequalities as created by the system of private property. Underline say private property. So private property ഉള്ളതുകൊണ്ടാണ് inequality ഉള്ളത്. Private property ഇല്ലാന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ inequality ഇല്ല. Okay, so that's about the initial understanding. Now we will talk more of sociology. Here we'll talk about Marx, we'll talk about Davis and Moore, we'll talk about Weber, and then postmodern thinkers also. Though it is not there in your syllabus, I'll mention that. Marx is there in your syllabus, functionalists are there in your syllabus, Weber is there in your syllabus, so we will briefly mention just one line. Postmodernist also I'll mention. Then we move to functionalist theory, and then we move to conflict theory, Weberian theory. That way we will cover one by one. Okay, right. Marx further added, M-A-R-X, Marx further added a dimension of division of labor, single inverted comma division of labor, underline cheyadu, division of labor in the understanding of social inequality. according to him, social inequalities or stratas emerged in society because of contradictions. Because of contradictions. And these inequalities generate conflict. CONFLICT. And these inequalities generate conflict. Underline contradictions, underline conflict. Next sentence. He even conceptualized a society. Which is free from such inequalities and termed it communist society. Single inverted comma underline cheya. And termed it communist society. So see, you know communism, and that communism and Marx communism is entirely different. So we will study that when it comes to Marx. Okay, so what exactly Marx meant by communism and what this communist party is all about, that we'll study later. So just underline that. Next paragraph. After the middle of 19th century, sociological understanding of inequalities started. So now you may think, so Marx is not a sociologist, right? After the middle of 19th century, sociological understanding of inequality started. See, Marx is not a pure sociologist. Marx is like an economist. Marx is a philosopher. Marx is a political scientist. And since we don't have initial sociologists or thinkers, we have borrowed from Marx significantly and consider him a sociologist. More than sociologist as a economist and political thinker. You see economics, you'll see Marx there. You see political science, you see Marx there. You see philosophy, you'll see Marx there. Marx is present everywhere. And that's why it is said, howsoever you see and you criticize Marx, you can never ignore Marx, right? Till the time poverty and exploitation is there, Marx is there. Till the time exploitation of man by man is there, Marx is relevant. You may criticize Marx, but you may not accept Marx, but you can't ignore Marx. Right. Sociological understanding started. Now right, Max Weber proposed a Trinitarian model. Trinitarian, Trinitarian, Trinitarian model. See, one thing let me tell you, only these names looks difficult. Now you understood, the theories are like this only. But when you see the historical materialism, right, alienation, class struggle, this names look slightly complicated, but theory is this only in sociology. Not like physics or chemistry, right? So, proposed a Trinitarian model highlighting three important dimensions. Class, status, and power. Class, status, power. We'll study that in detail in Weber. So we mentioned about Marx, we mentioned about Weber. Now we'll come to Davis and Moore also. And the power. Continue that. And emphasized on understanding the multidimensionality of patterns. So I give you one simple example here just to make you understand, but we will study that in detail later. Here itself, you see gender, one study. Here he is talking about three different dimensions, that is class, status, power. But here let's talk about three. Upper caste, lower caste is there, gender is there, rich, poor, imagine rich, poor is there, class base also there. So that is what multi-dimensional pattern. So there may be a person who is upper caste, but he may not be superior if he is poor, right? But if one person upper caste and rich and he is a male, then these three are coming together, right? Similarly, if that person upper caste, but upper caste female won't get that privilege of upper caste male, upper caste poor and upper caste rich. So this is what he said, that multi-dimensional patterns exist, and if you need to be at the top, you need to be like, if you draw a Venn diagram like this, you have to come in the middle. That means you need to be powerful everywhere, right? Again, inequalities are like deep rooted. Let's say women, simply we talk about women. Now you go further, urban women, rural women. Rural woman is more weak or more compared to the lower status, right? Urban. Widow and non-widow. Widow, right? So rural, urban we discussed, widow we have discussed. So different, right? Again, poor woman, rich woman. Gender is the same, poor, rich. Upper caste women, lower caste women. Rural women, urban women. So now think about this. A rural woman who's widow, who's a lower caste also, and who's poor also. Finished. Right? So that's how it is, right? So inequalities are, but if somewhere at least, okay, now if you consider the present society, you live in a rural background or widow, or even if you are a widow, if you are rich, perfectly fine, you can get everything done, what do you want? Nowadays society is more understood in economic terms. Everything is in economic terms. If you look at the present society, if you are there, then you are everywhere. Because you can buy anything. Right. Next paragraph. In the first half of 20th century, number of theories favoring a structural functional approach, towards understanding the patterns of inequalities, structural functional approach nalla underline cheyi. This approach is found in the writings of Talcott Parson, Davies and Moor, W.L. Warner, W.A.R.N.E.R., W.L. Warner. Okay, see, Parson and Warner is not that important. What Warner says is society is compartmentalized like this, right? Like different areas, different people live. You can see in majority of the society, it could be in terms of religion also, but religion is not stratification. But you'll see some areas Muslims live, right? Some areas Christians will live, where the church also there. If you go to the beach side and other things, right? You'll see that kind of, division. But here in this chapter, that is not the relevance. Here, some area the rich will live, like if you look at Mumbai, Very clearly it is evident in some sections in the Bandra area. Very rich, ultra rich people live, the film stars and the celebrities, Ambanis and Adanis and everyone, right? On the other side, there will be middle class also. They'll travel in metro, but slightly in different area, right? And very poor also. If you just look at the opposite side, there is that Dharavi area, right? So that means society is compartmentalized in terms of lifestyle, in terms of, you know, your familiarity. Some sections will come in this, some sections will belong to this. Now this is actually functional. Why this is functional? Because of this compartmentalization, you know, they stay separately, and then there is no, you know, hostility or tension between them. If they all together live like this, then that is again going to create problem. Hostility, tension. That's it. Very simple theory. So society is compartmentalized just for the functioning of society, so that there won't be mutual, you know, trust issues or hostility or tension. You are poor people, you live there. If you want to sell something, etc., exchange of things, you come, go. So, and there, Davis and Moore and W.L. Warner, right? According to this approach, inequalities were seen as fulfilling some vital function in the proper organization of society. Some vital function in the proper organization of society. Underline that, performing some vital functions in the proper organization of society. So what is the idea? Entire idea is all about this only. If something is existing, means it is fulfilling some functions. Otherwise, it won't exist. Otherwise, if it is bad, society will remove it. If it is existing, means it is fulfilling some functions for the society. Okay, entire functional approach is based on that. If it is existing, means it is having some function. Otherwise, it will automatically get removed by society. Now you are doing a lot of effort to remove inequality, but why still there? And the fact is that it is not only in one society, it is across society it is there, means it is important, it is required, it is in fact made by or continued by society only, because it helps in the functioning of society. That's the very foundation of this perspective. Underline. Okay, during 1950s and 60s, attempts were made to combine the Marxian and Weberian approach, in the writings of Eric Ohlin, O-H-L-I-N, and Wright. Eric Olin Wright. E-R-I-C, Ohlin Wright. Wright further added, W-R-I-G-H-T, Wright further added new dimension in understanding stratification, by talking of contradictory class locations. Underline cheya, single inverted comma leda. Contradictory class locations. Next paragraph. By the end of 1980s, postmodern understanding of social stratification conceptualize a society in which the stratas are diffusing The stratas are diffusing, and inequalities are confined to individual level than group level. Inequalities are confined to individual level than group level. Okay, now listen to this. This is a postmodern understanding. Postmodern understanding means mostly the present world, present scenario that we are living in. Now it is, see, when 1940s, 50s are there, it is very difficult to identify pattern. When I say middle class, when I say upper class, when I say lower class, middle class almost have similar lifestyles, similar patterns, similar salaries, like industrialization, and the superiors, right, and the managers, their wages are same, their lifestyle is same. There is not much big difference between the people, right? Almost people are alike, people are similar in terms of wages, expenses, right? Almost the same. But is that the same now? Even within middle class? No, right? Even within middle class also, or even upper class also, upper class may be same. Those elites, their lifestyle and everything will be same. But middle class, if you see, you can't say. So it is very difficult to identify a kind of, there may be some things which are common, but group inequalities is now kind of coming down, dispersed. It is individual, even within middle class, between you, me, even though we comes in middle class, but there is a big difference. You, he, both of them have again big difference, right? So it is more of individualized inequality in the present day. That is because economy is getting stronger, and people are getting such kind of opportunities also. Mobility is so high. Even you just open your social media and do something and post it, then you become a celebrity and you start making money, right? You get some brand promotions and you make money. So even those people who have taken their lifetime to become rich at the age of 14, 15, now the billionaires are coming, right, with the impact of social media. Otherwise, becoming a billionaire is like a dream. It is effort, but now that's not the case. Easy. So what I mean to say here, that group level inequalities is reducing, individual inequalities are increasing. In simple terms, individualism is increasing. That collective things are coming down. Societal role is coming down. Individual, we are not bothered about society now, unlike before. Unlike before, it's like everything is based on society, what society talk about, right? But that's not the case now. We are not bothered. So over a period of time, it will be like that. So nowadays, it's all about individual. If you make money, you are good. If you don't make money, you are not good. And it is between individuals. There is nothing like group or I am part of this group, nothing like that. So the group level inequality is coming down, individual inequality is shooting up, going up. So you'll use the word that group level inequality is diffused, or you will say dispersed inequality everywhere. Even this class also, one by one unequal in terms of income, mostly income. Rest of the things is now negligible. If female, male, that superiority is very much reduced, because if female is having good job and money than the male, then no such inequality. It's ultimately, what is that inequality? Money now. Nothing else. Otherwise, you marry if you have money, then you are good. If you don't have money, you're not good. Then the traditional inequality will come. Male-female division will come. If you have money, then that inequality is not there. Earlier, when I say male and female, there is inequality. Now, male and female, inequality is there. But if female have more money than male, there is no inequality. That's it. Ultimately, that's what matters, because inequality is more individualized. You are not seeing this group or that group like that. You got my point, right? It is more of individualized because of modern society. It's actually a phenomena of modern, so it's a property of modern society. Modern society is based on achievement. Modern society is not based on ascription. Achievement means it's the individual skills and everything. You get something, you go to the top. Ascription means by birth. So now modern society is not, relying on whether you born in upper caste or lower. You have money or not, then you talk. That's how everyone. Even you go to a shop, even you want to talk to someone, it's like that only. So societies went that level. Okay. So no one, what I mean to say is, no one is bothered whether you're male or female, whether you're upper caste or lower caste, or North Indian or South Indian or anything. People are bothered about whether you have something to exchange to me. If I need to talk to you, if I need to spend my time, do you have something to exchange to me? Okay, right. I don't know everybody is like that, but I'm like that. Right, and majority will be like that. So that I can tell for sure. Right. Group level. Okay, these theories proposed the end of theories of stratification itself. Theories of stratification itself. This approach is highlighted in the writings of Baudrillard. You write this Baudrillard, Baudrillard, and Back. Baudrillard and Back. Okay, so that's about the evolution. Now you understood how this theories of social stratification started and came to an end. Now here it came to an end, right? Because there is now no need to have theories of stratification, because now there is no stratas as such. You can't simply say middle class or upper class or lower class. Even if you say I'm a middle class, you can't actually understand where I stand. I may tell people that I belong middle class, right? But with that, you cannot understand where I stand. It could be upper middle class, lower middle class, middle class, within upper middle class, further upper middle class, upper middle class, lower middle class, like that will be there. So you can't say where you stand. So that is why individual inequality. So is the stratas are relevant now? No. It is individualized inequality. The individual may be at a very different level than if you try to classify. If you simply classify me in upper class, I may not sit there, because upper class will be compared with an entirely different group. You can't fit me in a middle class, because middle class is having some lifestyle, and my lifestyle, I'm just giving my example so that you can understand, will be completely different than any middle class person. Right, similarly, even if you put that in a lower class, it never match. So you can't say where this person stand. So the stratas won't work. So that towards the end, what is happening? There is no relevance for theories of stratification, because stratas is not working. That's why I mentioned stratas are diffusing. It is reducing, it is coming down. It is not strata based inequality. It is individualized inequality. Individuals are unequal now. All of us stand differently. We earlier, see, maybe 10-15 years back, we all may be coming in a particular category, right? Students and teachers comes under maybe middle class. Most of the students who prepare for this comes from a normal middle class background. The teacher may be also a middle class background. So we can all put together. Now that may not be the case. And the students may be ultra rich than the teacher or other students, or there may be some very poor student also, because now opportunity is there for everyone can study. So you can't classify. You got that point, right? So there is no point in studying about these strata. It is about individual inequalities. So from where we started, at one point, ancient time onwards, there is a group. They said it is natural, inevitable, permanent. Then came social understanding. Then came an understanding where it could be social or inherent or acquired or combination of both. Then we talked about Marx in terms of division of labor. Then we discussed about Weber, a Trinitarian model. These two will study. Then we discussed about Davis and Moore, Talcott, Parsons, W.L. Warner. That's what we are going to write now. And then comes, other thinkers like Eric Olin, right? Baudrillard and Back. They propose the end of stratification itself. Now, is there a stratification as such like the way we see? There is, but it is not that, very clearly patterned. One condition of stratification is what? Pattern. But that exact pattern we may not find. But still, if you ask me, stratification exists or not? Yes, that theory itself is relevant or not? Yes, even when you are preparing for this exam, completely based on this theory. Right, there are positions which are important. Some you are getting, and they need the talented people, correct? For getting the talented people, only all these rewards are attached. Yes, and that is creating a stratified position. There is one more objection, that how to judge the talent. Right, you say talented people is required. Right, but how to judge the talent? Now, this exam, can it judge the talent? That's the question. Now, if that is the case, why GMAT is different pattern? Why CAT is a different pattern? Why this is a different pattern? So there is no one way in which you can judge the talent also. So that is another criticism by Melvin Tumin. We'll write everything just right now. Structural functional theory. Structural functional theory. Heading. Is it easy or tough? You understood or not? Okay. Just that you get the flavor of the theories now. This full theories. If it is like this, will it be easy or not? It will be easy. Okay, no problem. Right. Under that you write structural functional theories of stratification. Structural functional theories of stratification are based on the assumption that it fulfills some vital function in the context of structure of society, in the context of structure of society, and is both inevitable and necessary. And is both inevitable and necessary. So, what do you mean by functional theories? What do you mean by functional? You are identifying the functions. You are saying something exists means it is fulfilling some function. So that is what functional theory is. Then what is structural functional theory? You add structure also. That means you add context. For this society, for this structure, it is functional. It may not be for other society. Right? For example, when we talk about caste, we use structural functional theory to understand caste. For this society, it is functional. For this structure, it is functional. May not be fit into other structure, other society. So when I say functional theory, that is broadly, you are saying functional for all cases. Structural functional means it is context specific. It is for a particular structure, it is functional. Okay. Right. Importance of stratification is emphasized. Importance of stratification is emphasized on account of its existence in all societies. Its existence in all societies. That means what? Every society it is there. That means it is functional. You take any society, there is some kind of inequalities there. Next point. Talcott-Parsons formulated Talcott, T-A-L-C-O-T, Talcott Parsons formulated an initial theory of stratification, an initial theory of stratification, which is considered as very simple and broad, which is considered as very simple and broad. Full stop. More detailed theories of stratification, more detailed theories of stratification is found in the writings of Davis and Moor and W.L. Warner right? Now subheading Talcott Parsons, T-A-L-C-O-T P-A-R-S-O-N-S, Talcott Parsons. According to Parsons, every society is based on consensus. Every society is based on consensus in terms of norms and values. Norms and the values and the beliefs that we have. Consensus എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ എന്താ? We are in consensus, some kind of agreement between us, right? So this class have some consensus in terms of certain norms and values. There is expected behavior from the teacher, from the student, and there are certain belief system also, and we have agreed upon that, and we are together here. Okay? If you consider this class as a society, that's the example. So society also like that only. There is expected behavior from the members of society. There are certain belief system also. That's the value system of society. Norms, expected behavior, and the members of society are in consensus. If consensus is breached, you have nothing to do. You just violated, that's it. But laws, there is punishment. That's different. Rules, laws, that's different. Consensus, full stop. Next sentence. The conformity to these norms, the conformity to these norms is considered desirable, and is often rewarded, and is often rewarded. People often tend to conform to or tend to evaluate themselves. People often tend to evaluate themselves to the conformity themselves in terms of their ability to conform to these norms and values. Najanda, you yourself will try to evaluate among you whether I am conforming to norms and values of the, let's say, class. What are the norms and values of the class? It could be like taking a test series, right? Doing your homework, preparing the notes, short notes. So now you try to evaluate yourself among those people whether I am conforming to norms and values. Now those who are doing it, they will be rewarded. That's it. Okay, right. Thus, social stratification is a mechanism. Thus, social stratification is a mechanism of ensuring people that they have been given a particular position as per their intent and ability. As per their intent and ability. That underlines you a last sentence. Now write Davis and Moor theory. Davis and Moor theory. Okay, this theory is formulated in the famous book titled Some Principles of Social Stratification, 1942. Single inverted comma the Some Principles of Social Stratification hyphen 1942. So book name if you remember the year, write that also. 1942. കുറച്ച് book names that you need to remember. കാരണം ഈ ഒരു തിയറിയിൽ ഈ ഒരു ബുക്ക് നെയിമേ ഉള്ളൂ. അതുപോലെ മാർക്സിൻ്റെ ഒരു 3 തിയറി ഉണ്ട്, 2 ബുക്ക് ഉണ്ട്. ഡുർഖീമിൻ്റെ ഒരു 4 തിയറി ഉണ്ട്, 3 ബുക്ക് ഉണ്ട്. ഇൻഫാക്ട് ദ നെയിം ഓഫ് ദ തിയറി ആൻഡ് ദ ബുക്ക് നെയിം ഓൾസോ സെയിം. ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ division of labor, suicide. The you need to add, that's it. Okay, so 1942. Okay. Okay, this theory is made in terms of some propositions explaining systematically the differential distribution of rewards in society. The differential distribution of rewards in society. The differential distribution of rewards in society. Explaining systematically the differential distribution of rewards in society. According to them, the differential distribution of rewards is a reflection of stratified society and helps in perpetuating it. Okay, so what you're saying, you have differential distribution of rewards. Here you have some rewards, here you don't have. Here, in fact, privileges, no privileges. Here you have rewards, privileges, etc. Here you have punishments like that, right? You won't get anything. You are subjected to more work, etc. Now, that itself is showing what? Strata. Secondly, this will help in perpetuating or continuing this. For example, you are a doctor. You know the societal recognition that you got. So, do you want your son, daughter to become a doctor? Yes, right? He also want, and their sons and daughters naturally motivated by seeing what his parents are getting. Right? That is what doctors are, doctors, son, daughters becoming doctors. Similarly, IAS, IPS, etc. Right? Means continuation, it will help because of these rewards. Right, next sentence. The propositions include, first one, Society is made up of different positions. Society is made up of different positions, some of which are functionally more important than others. Some of which are functionally more important than others. Okay, these positions develop a view of stratified society. These positions develop a view of stratified society. Next sentence. Next point. Bullet point lo point 2 no engane vanilla ediko. Right. High rewards are attached. High rewards are attached to the positions of great importance. High rewards are attached to the positions of great importance in order to attract high rewards are attached to the positions of great importance in order to attract the talented people needed for such position. Okay, so high reward positions are there, some are functionally important, high rewards for that, so that you can attract the talent. Third sentence you write, important positions require skill and training. Important positions require skill and training. Those who undertake this training make certain sacrifices like the way you are doing, right? Sacrifices, and therefore have to be compensated. By the way of more reward. Compensated by the way of more rewards. Next paragraph. Next point. Social stratification is a mechanism. Social stratification is a mechanism of distribution of rewards, in order to fill functionally more important position with talented people. Next point. Thus, stratified positions which are witnessed in every society, are important for the proper organization for the proper organization of society. Moreover, there is no society which is based on unstratified social position. Unstratified social position. Position. Underline the full sentence. Just cut, copy, paste. Okay, simple. It's a very beautifully structured line. So every society have what? Stratification that help in proper organization, and there are no society which is based on unstratified social position. Every society have this. And what is it doing? Social proper functioning. Now what next? What next? Objection. Melvin Tumin. Next paragraph. ഇതിന് ഞാൻ എക്സ്പ്ലെയിൻ ചെയ്യണോ? കറക്റ്റ് അല്ലേ? Next. In reaction to this theory, Melvin Tumin raised certain objections. Melvin Tumin raised certain objections. First, how to judge the relative importance of a position. How to judge the relative importance of a position. Next, rewards can be considered functional. Rewards can be considered functional only if society provide equal opportunities to all. When in bracket le got training and recruitment. Right in bracket, training and recruitment. Okay. Third, trainees do not make any sacrifice. Trainees do not make any sacrifice except suspended earnings. Suspended earnings during training period. During training period. Full stop. Generally, the cost of training is taken by the parents. Taken by the parents. Next point. There can be alternative motivational schemes. There can be alternative motivational schemes instead of differential rewards. Alternative motivational schemes instead of differential rewards. Next point. Social stratification actually hinder, H-I-N-D-R, തടസ്സപ്പെടുത്തുക, H-I-N-D-E-R, hinders the process of integration of society, the process of integration of society by generating hostility and distrust. hostility and distrust between the privileged and underprivileged underprivileged. Next point allalo ini endha. So now we are done. Clarification. Right, Davis and Moore. Adutha paragraph. Davis and Moore further clarified their theory of social stratification, in the light of objections raised by Tumin. Right, first one. It is difficult but not impossible to judge the functional importance of a position. It is difficult but not impossible to judge the functional importance of a position. A particular position can be evaluated using two criteria. One, എന്തൊക്കെയാ രണ്ട് ക്രൈറ്റീരിയ? മലയാളത്തിൽ പറഞ്ഞാൽ മതി. Uniqueness, dependence. Okay, right. One, by the degree to which the position is more unique. Bracket learning ediko IAS officer. Or you write Prime Minister. No, don't write, that's only one post, okay? IAS officer is more unique. Avade evaluation de avashyamillalo. Okay. Second, by the degree to which one position is dependent upon the other. Next point. So that first question is solved. That's the main question. Then he's talking about rewards, how to judge the talent, etc. That we can mention, right? Next one. Rewards are necessary to motivate people. To undergo training which involve time, energy and money. Which is not required for unskilled task. Moreover, trainees had to undergo a lot of hardship during training. Next point. Regarding alternative motivational schemes, Davis argues that modern society cannot function. Modern society cannot function if people were left to do whatever they wish. If people were left to do whatever they wish, it will create imbalance in society. It will create imbalance in society. Next point. Social stratification may be dysfunctional in certain respect. Social stratification may be dysfunctional in certain aspect. But the fact that it is universally present, shows that it must be fulfilling certain function and is inevitable reality. Certain function and is inevitable reality. Okay, so we are done with the theory. Now W.L. Warner is there that we can do. We need to discuss the criticisms also. Okay, one by one. How Weber is criticized, how Marx is criticized, feminists criticized, all this we can discuss. And then one more topic, that is social mobility. So that we can do tomorrow. Any questions? പേരെന്തായിരുന്നു? പേരാ താജുവ. പേരെന്താ? സഫീർ തന്നെയാണോ? അത് ശരി. ഷഫീറ. ഓക്കെ. തൻ്റെ പേരെന്താ? സംഗീത, സഞ്ജന, അനീഷ അല്ലേ? റാഷിദ്. നിങ്ങളുടെ പേരെന്താ? അബിൻ. കാർത്തിക്. So we'll stop. Questions ഒന്നുമില്ല? Okay. അത് ഇൻസ്റ്റെഡ് ഓഫ് റിവാർഡ് നിങ്ങളിപ്പോൾ ഈ പറഞ്ഞ പൊസിഷൻസ് ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാണ്ട് വേറെ എന്തെങ്കിലുമൊക്കെ മോട്ടിവേഷണൽ സ്കീം വെക്കൂ എന്നുള്ള രീതിയിൽ. ഈ റിവാർഡ് ഉണ്ടാക്കുന്നതുകൊണ്ടാണ് സ്ട്രാറ്റിഫിക്കേഷൻ ഉണ്ടാകുന്നത്. അല്ലാതെ ഈ ഫങ്ഷൻസ് ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ തന്നെയും അത് ഫുൾഫിൽ ചെയ്യാൻ വേറെ എന്തെങ്കിലും മോട്ടിവേഷൻ കൊടുക്കുന്നു. പ്രാക്ടിക്കൽ അല്ല അത്. പക്ഷേ എന്ത് മോട്ടിവേഷൻ? അതാണ് അവസാനം എഴുതിയേക്കുന്നത്. അങ്ങനെ വിട്ട് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഒന്നും നടക്കില്ല എന്നുള്ളത് എഴുതിയേക്കും. അത് വെറുതെ നമുക്ക് ഒരാളെ ക്രിട്ടിസൈസ് ചെയ്യാൻ എന്തെങ്കിലും പറയാമെന്നുള്ള രീതിയിലുള്ളൊരു ക്രിറ്റിസിസമാണ്. നിങ്ങൾ വേറെ എന്തെങ്കിലും കൊടുക്കുമെന്ന് പറയാം, പക്ഷെ എന്താണെന്ന് പറയുന്നില്ല. ആക്ച്വലി റിവാർഡാണ് മോട്ടിവേഷൻ ഇവിടെ. വെൻ ദർ ഇസ് എ റിവാർഡ് ദർ ഇസ് എ മോട്ടിവേഷൻ. ഓൾട്ടർനേറ്റ് മോട്ടിവേഷൻ എന്താണ്? അത് പിന്നെ ഡിപ്പെൻഡിങ് അപ്പോൺ പേഴ്സണാലിറ്റിയാണ്, വേറെ മോട്ടിവേഷൻസ്. റൈറ്റ്, അതിൽ കാര്യമില്ല. ഓൾ റൈറ്റ്, സീ യു.